Hello, it's Leslie here. How are you doing? I wanted to talk to you about why it is that we need to sleep and how valuable it is to us. And there are two questions that we often kind of ask ourselves, which is about how much sleep do we actually need, and how could we optimize the sleep that we have access to? Because I know when you've got young children and a very busy schedule, that sometimes that can be tricky. So how much sleep do we need? Well, the general consensus is between 7 and 9 hours. And like everything in life, it is very individual. Sleep is a biological mandate. All mammals sleep. We're the only mammal that has kind of managed to override that with technology. Technology being the light bulb, the television, and of course, any access to screens. Also the ability to travel across time zones, which then can really have an impact on our sleep. But that's the subject for another time. It has a deep connection to our health and well-being, really, really deep. If you're struggling with any aspect of your health and hormones, then sleep is a powerful assistant when it comes to repair and recovery from illness, from injury, or from any kind of shift in stress and in lifestyle that you want to make. Sleep also keeps us safe. The number one killer, I think, in most developed countries is car crashes, and the majority of those happen as a result of drowsy driving, far more than for drink or drug driving, which I think is really interesting and just goes to show the impact that sleep has on our safety on an everyday level. Basically, after about 16 hours, our brain begins to fail in judgment, fail in perception, and on a number of different levels. It needs sleep in order to restore itself. We're all different, as I said. Maybe we need slightly different amounts, but most sleep studies agree that magic 7 to 9 hours is the window. I reckon I can definitely, 7.5 is definitely a good amount for me. And I've actually kind of done a little bit of looking at this for myself in order to optimize that. So I try and allow myself every day the sleep opportunity of those 7.5 hours. And I'll get to that in a minute. So sleep cycles happen within our 7 to 9 hour window. Sleep cycles generally last 90 minutes, not generally, they last 90 minutes. And we go through different stages of sleep in each cycle. Generally, REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, is the first stage. And then there are different levels of non-REM sleep. So deep sleep, deep restorative sleep. Seem to be 4 different cycles of that. And then at the end of each cycle, we come quite close to waking again, and then go back into that REM and deep sleep. Generally, the first couple of cycles of the night, we have longer periods of that deep REM sleep, that deep non-REM sleep, deep sleep, kind of where our brain waves really slow down. And then the REM sleep, the rapid eye movement sleep, when our brain is slightly more active, are slightly longer in the latter part of the night. And it is thought that there are different things that happen to our brains and our bodies in those different points of sleep. We need that deep sleep in order for our bodies to do really essential cell repair and regeneration, particularly in those first 2 sleep cycles. That's when our body releases a human growth hormone, which is a hormone that is required for cell regeneration and repair. So if you're going to bed really late, then perhaps you're losing that opportunity for the secretion of human growth hormone. So if you've been ill or you're in recovery from anything, then having some sleep earlier in the night, doesn't have to be super early. I'm not talking about 8 o'clock. Can be very, very restorative. And at the end of each cycle, as I said, we can come really close to waking. And you might find that there are some nights when it feels like you wake up every couple of hours, and that might be what is happening. I no longer worry about that. Kind of just might turn over and have a look at my clock and notice how many more sleep cycles I've got left during the night, and then allow that to happen. But we're all different. And equally, if you get woken in the night by a child or a snoring partner, kind of acknowledging that that has happened, but knowing that there should be time for you to catch up on some sleep cycles is really important. And then REM sleep, it's thought, so those longer cycles of REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, it's thought that that is when we kind of cement our memories, decide what is important to keep and to store, as well as sometimes help us puzzle through problems and decisions that we're trying to make. And that deep sleep is when our bodies, as well as being the release of this human growth hormone, is also when our bodies kind of undergo a bit of a deep clean. I like to think about, kind of like little tiny miniature cleaners sweeping out the debris in our brain or in our guts, and really allowing the repair of any damage that might have been done during the day or over time, because cells get damaged, and that repair can happen overnight. There is a link between various brain degenerative conditions and sleep, and it is thought that this cleaning process is an important part of that. There's a book called Why We Sleep, that might be backwards, by Matthew Walker, which I will link to in the module, because it's really worth a read. So good sleep helps to empty your stress bucket, which I've been talking about in this module and last week. It helps you to find that balance. It helps to balance your hormones, and can be really beneficial to your overall health. How can you optimize sleep? There are some suggestions in this module, but I thought I'd go through just a few now. One is around being calm before bed. So it could be that you listen to a relaxation, read a book, journal and write. Writing a gratitude journal is a wonderful way of getting your brain into a really positive state. Writing down 3 things you're grateful for, or the 3 best things that have happened. Cutting down on caffeine. Creating yourself a bedtime routine so that you're creating a sleep opportunity, getting your brain and body ready to optimize sleep. So it could be about, allowing yourself to clean your face nicely, applying moisturizer. It could be about, as I said, about journaling or reading, or the things that you do around the house before you go to bed, but doing them in a calm and ordered manner. Keeping caffeine to the morning only. Keeping sugar low, particularly in the evening. And magnesium, for many of us, I find it really helpful to take a magnesium supplement for a number of different reasons. In the week before my period, I find that if I take it at night, it massively helps with my sleep. Otherwise, I tend to wake up in the latter part of the night. And tracking what works. So if you do have a night when you don't sleep well, and this is children aside, to see if there is anything that you can notice. Did you have a cup of tea later on in the day? Did you have a Diet Coke when you were working in the evening? Did you end up snacking a bit later on in the day? Or did you not eat enough? That can be, like, hunger can keep you awake. Then that can be tricky. And the other thing I wanted to say was, when sleep is interrupted for whatever reason, whether it's a child, a partner, worry or concern, that what we don't want to do is elevate our cortisol levels by worrying and stressing about it. So developing tactics to support that wakefulness in the night. So how could you calm yourself back down again? This could be by having a low light on and reading again to calm yourself down. It could be, I used to knit or crochet when I had insomnia due to knit in pregnancy. I had to struggle with insomnia because there was a meditative movement to that, and I could kind of switch my brain off, or again listen to a meditation. And I would count back in sleep cycles then as well. So if your sleep is interrupted, understanding that actually you might lose one sleep cycle, but will there be space for another one before that? So say if you wake up at 4, then maybe you might be awake until 5:30, but there's still an opportunity for sleep, for another sleep cycle between 5:30 and 7. So don't give up on it. And that it is, just like I talked about rest, this is an opportunity to play with improving sleep. There are a number of strategies in this module, and to play with sleep. And if sleep is interrupted, to allow yourself more downtime during the day, that next day, because your cortisol levels will be higher, and chronically high cortisol can really disrupt your ability to get off to sleep for a number of reasons. So staying calm after a night of interrupted sleep and allowing yourself downtime and giving yourself a good sleep opportunity the next day is really important. I hope that's clear. I look forward to going through some of this with you in our live coaching call, and let me know if you've got any questions in the Facebook group. Take care and have a very restful week.